Okay. Good morning. I'm Denise Smiler, Chair of the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. I would like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones and all electronic devices at this time. With Commissioner Dermody participating by telephone and 6 board members present, I'd like to call today's meeting to order. Commissioner Dermody, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
I certainly can. Thank you so much. I would also like to note that, for the record, in addition to the 7 board members, we also have our ex officio members, George Augusto, representing Russell Redding, Secretary for the Department of Agriculture, Adria Zimmerman, representing Pat Brown, Secretary for the Department of Revenue, and Jennifer Langen, representing Stacy Garrity, State Treasurer. Thank you, ex officios, for joining us. As the first order of business, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise and join me in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Unfortunately, my next announcement is a sad one. As I said a couple of meetings ago with respect to Commissioner Regan, I have to announce that we are yet losing another commissioner. But before I move on to that, I happily note for the record that Commissioner Regan is still here. Although it does seem quite possible that this will be her last meeting and her replacement will be seated on the board prior to our September 24th public meeting. That being the case, I would be remiss if I didn't once again thank Fran for her years of excellent service to the board. Thank you again, Fran. Yay. In addition to Fran's pending departure, today I must also announce that Commissioner Ralston has tendered her resignation to the board. This will be her last meeting as she moves on to pursue other career opportunities. For those of you who don't know, Nadia has been with the board for over 4 years, having been appointed by Governor Tom Wolf in 2021. Nadia's prior public service began as the Deputy Finance Director for then Pennsylvania State Representative, now Congressman Dwight Evans. She later joined the Governor Wolf for Governor Finance team as a Deputy Finance Director and subsequently served as a Deputy Executive Assistant on the Wolf for Governor transition team. Nadia went on to become the Southeast Regional Director for Governor Wolf. In that position, she was responsible for being the primary point of contact for the governor's office across the 8-county southeastern region of the state. Outside of her full-time employment, Nadia also has served as chair of the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, a member of the Big Brothers Big Sisters Independence Philadelphia Regional Board, the Board of Directors for the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as on the Community College of Philadelphia Foundation Board. You're a very busy lady. I, for one, am going to miss you, Nadia. You brought a unique and youthful perspective to the board that consistently helped us make informed and rational decisions. Thank you for everything that you have done for this board and for the citizens of Pennsylvania. I wish you the best in your next chapter. With your departure, the average age of this board has risen like 20 years. But I would ask if any of my fellow commissioners would like to say anything at this time. Commissioner Dunbar.
I'll go first. I just want to thank Nadia for indoctrinating me and telling me what to do and keeping me on pace with everything. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Manzano Diaz.
Yes. Nadia, we're so happy that we're sad that you're leaving, but we're happy that you're moving on to bigger and better things. I just want to say that it has been an honor for me to serve with you, and you have come in with such fresh ideas, great perspective, and you have been such a valuable member of this board, and I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Regan.
I just want to say, have you ever brought in baked goods?
I have not.
Nadia, it's been an absolute pleasure, and wherever you're headed to next, they are so very lucky to have you. You are such a smart, amazing young woman, and I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dillon.
There's one thing that you forgot to include in your presentation in the day. over the last few years, she's actually been getting her master's degree at night. So besides everything else she's got going on, she's been working to get her master's, which she's received, which congratulations for that. But it's also, it's been a pleasure. You know, I'm fortunate to have been working with such a great group of people with Nadia. So we've, the last year or so, we have dinner together every night, you know, unless there was a few
Every
times.
night?
Well, every night when we were up here, yes. Yes.
I said,
Clarity.
does your wife know about that?
Yeah. She wouldn't care. But yeah, every time we were up here, me and Nadia, we grab dinner and have conversations, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you, and wish you nothing but the best. And you know, you have my number. If there's anything that I can do for you personally, you can always reach out.
Commissioner Dermody, would you like to say a few words?
I absolutely would. Nadia, I am going to miss you, and, you know, we are all going to miss you. But I guess the good news is you're not going too far. But it really has been a pleasure, and, you know, good luck. You're going to do a great job.
For the record, we have a resolution honoring Nadia's service to the board, which I'm not going to read, but I'll put before the board for consideration. Prior to moving for the resolution commemorating Nadia's service to the board, I'd like to ask Commissioner Ralston if she'd like to address the board and the staff and the guests. And I might just give you a time limit. She said she's narrowed it down to 45 minutes, so we'll have to time her. Go ahead, Nadia.
Well, first, thank everyone for your kind remarks. I would like to first thank our executive director, Kevin, and our chairwoman for your exceptional leadership. Your guidance during my time here has definitely been pivotal in helping me navigate a completely different industry. For me, to the dedicated staff of the PGCB, your tireless work and efforts have definitely not gone unnoticed. You are truly the backbone of this organization. And all that you do to make our jobs easier has truly meant a lot to me, and I'm sure to our commissioners, to keep everything flowing. So it's definitely been an honor to work alongside of such a dedicated and talented group of individuals. And lastly, to my fellow commissioners, it's been great. I mean, I've had some great jobs, and I've worked with some great teams, but this team has really been just a pleasure to work with. And I'm just truly inspired by the insights that you guys share, the passion that you bring to every meeting. And I just wish you continued success later down the line. So thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. So as I mentioned, we do have a resolution. At this time, I'd ask for a motion on the resolution for Commissioner Ralston.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Regan moves that the board approve the resolution recognizing the service of Nadia Ralston to the board.
Madam Chair, I have the honor of seconding that resolution.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The motion is adopted. Thank you again, Nadia. Okay, this morning we have two scheduled public hearings. The first will be a continuation of the Presque Isle Downs and Casino Category 1 license renewal hearing, which was heard in part at our May public meeting, but then tabled because the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement Council sought additional information from Presque Isle. We will hear from the parties in a second, but I will note for the record that the board has been provided with an updated suitability report for this applicant, which included updated investigative reports and an updated report from BIE's Financial Investigations Unit, which reviewed all of the information provided by Presque Isle. With that, by way of background, I would ask that Presque Isle OEC come forward. I would ask that all non-attorneys who might be presenting evidence today in this proceeding on behalf of either party, would you please stand and be sworn in by the court reporter at this time? I also would like everybody to please state and spell your name prior to making any comments or statements. And we also want to recognize there is one individual who is joining us from Churchill Downs by telephone, and it's John Bresch?
Rao.
John Rao. Could you spell that for the court reporter, please?
R-A-U-C-H.
Yes, ma'am, it's R-A-U-C-H.
Okay, thank you. And he has been sworn as well. So although Presque Isle, as the applicant, has the burden of proof itself, given this proceeding was paused back in May so that BIE and OEC could receive and review additional information, I will turn to OEC first to start this hearing.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Cyrus Petrie, CYRUS, PITRE, Chief Enforcement Counsel. Madam Chair, we've submitted our background investigations report to the board. We do not have any additional questioning for Presque Isle. I only have a closing statement to present to the board.
Okay, thank you. Presque Isle, do you have any remarks at this point?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm Kevin Hayes from the Saver Law Firm, and I appear before you again today on behalf of PID LLC, a Category 1 slot machine licensee who operates the racetrack and licensed casino facility in Erie County, known as Presque Isle Downs and Casino. As you know, Presque Isle Downs is owned by Churchill Downs Incorporated. Appearing with me today are the following representatives of Churchill Downs Incorporated: Michael Maher, who's the Vice President for Gaming Operations; Adam Schmidt, Vice President for Financial Planning and Analysis; Lou Rascona, who's the Vice President for Corporate Compliance and Senior Counsel; Oz Sharif, who is Corporate Counsel; and joining us virtually by way of Teams is John Rao, who is Churchill Downs Chief Accounting Officer. Also with us here today from the property is Gary Hendricks, who is the Vice President and General Manager of Presque Isle Downs. Since we last appeared before the board on May 21st, representatives from Churchill Downs and Presque Isle Downs have worked diligently to provide records and information to the board's Office of Enforcement Counsel, Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement, and its Financial Investigation Unit. To be certain, extensive records and information have been supplied to the board's financial investigators for their analysis, and we understand that their findings and conclusions have been provided to the board prior to today's hearing. Accordingly, aside from the statement that will be offered by Mike Maher, we will not be presenting additional evidence or calling additional witnesses as part of today's licensing hearing. However, this sizable delegation of representatives from Churchill Downs and Presque Isle Downs are here today to answer the questions of the board. Again, we understand the board's keen interest in transparency and having this proceeding take place in public. And to the extent the questions relate to non-confidential information or information that is publicly available through SEC filings or elsewhere, we are prepared to answer those questions during the public hearing. However, as indicated in May, Presque Isle Downs and Churchill Downs have not waived confidentiality and may have to request that we proceed to a closed executive session in order to answer questions relating to confidential matters which are protected by Section 1206F of the Gaming Act. Of course, we all want to avoid that today if possible. Again, I would like to introduce Mike Maher, who is Churchill Downs Vice President for Gaming Operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, members of the board, staff. My name is Michael Maher, as Kevin said, Vice President of Gaming Operations for Churchill Downs Incorporated, or CDI, which is the parent company for the applicant PID LLC, doing business as Presque Isle Downs and Casino. And we last met during our hearing on May 21st of this year. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address the board during this hearing regarding the new renewal of Presque Category 1 slot machine license. a process that commenced just over 2 years ago in June 2023 when our 5-year renewal application was originally submitted. And while this has been a lengthy process, I do want to thank the board staff for their open communication, professionalism, and diligence throughout this renewal process. At Churchill, we do enjoy strong professional relationships with our regulators, and we are appreciative of that with this staff as well. I want to begin by acknowledging that leading up to the May 21st meeting, the board and the board staff were confronted with a news story concerning Presque Isle Downs and its future, which created additional work, a level of frustration, and perhaps for some doubt as to whether Presque Isle is interested in obtaining a renewal of its license. As was made clear then, I'm here to once again reassure this board that we were not the source of that news story and understand the discomfort our willingness to be interviewed caused. Simply put, the timing could not have been worse and the messaging could have been better. But what we hope has become clear in terms of both our subsequent comments and additional submissions to the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Financial Investigations Unit is that Churchill Downs is committed to Presque Isle Downs and to obtaining its 5-year license. Our concerns over the current gaming landscape and lack of meaningful legislative intervention for the benefit of Pennsylvania's brick and mortar casino facilities remains true, but so too does our resolve in successfully operating Presque Isle. The Kentucky Derby, soon to celebrate its 152nd consecutive running, is often referred to as the heartbeat of Churchill Downs. It helps guide and influence our perspective in delivering high quality and long-lasting experiences for many throughout the world. We are the most successful and qualified racetrack operator in the world, and we are committed to continuing to leverage that experience in the ongoing operation of Presque Isle. We fully understand that this license is for a 5-year term and here today to seek the privilege of being provided with another 5-year license. Along those lines, I understand there were concerns raised after our last presentation, specifically with certain answers that were provided to questions about PID sustainability beyond 1 year or 3 years of operation in the current climate. I want to reiterate that Churchill Downs is a growth company that believes in the markets in which we operate, irrespective of headwinds that may face those properties and its operations. Again, consistent with what we have stated today and agreed to in writing with the special conditions, CDI is committed to supporting the ongoing operations of Press throughout the entire 5-year timeframe for this license renewal. And with that, we again thank the board and its staff for its diligence and professionalism and make ourselves available to address any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. As I said last time, the board will have questions for you. Before I turn it over to my fellow commissioners, I would like to commend Presque Isle for the efforts they have undertaken to increase their diversity within their employee staff and with their supplier chain. Those are really good steps to have partnered with other institutions and organizations to help in that you move in that direction. Also, your unattended children program where you have periodic announcements, which I don't think any other casino that I've been in has that, and your signage and your security outside. I mean, they're all very exemplary. Unfortunately, those two criteria are not what we're basing our suitability assessment on, but I just wanted to put that on the record from my perspective, and I'm sure some of my fellow commissioners also feel the same way about the efforts you have undertaken in those two areas. So with that, I am going to turn it over to my fellow commissioners, and I'm going to start with Commissioner Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, I was telling Commissioner Ralston earlier, this has actually been entertaining for me because as a CP, I've had a lot of numbers to look through on your financial statements in the last few months. I think Mr. Petrie summed it up best during his questioning when he reminded everybody that we were responsible as a board to get clear and convincing evidence of financial stability. And that's really what we're trying to figure out in doing our due diligence here. I could ask a million questions, but I'm not going to go down so many rabbit holes. Just a few minor things that I just, out of curiosity, as I was reviewing all these numbers. First off, I never had any concerns, a going concern as far as PID was concerned. I always thought financially was stable in that regard. But I did wonder a little bit, especially as you look at the numbers for this year, where you have some revenue increases year over year, but you're going backwards on slot revenue and table revenue. Your increases are on solely in online, mostly sports wagering area. What steps have been taken to correct that? And secondly, I was curious as to why table game revenue for PID in comparison to all the other casinos is woefully low compared to everybody else. The end result is the majority of your revenue is coming from slots, which creates a concentrated business risk if something would happen in the slots area, which is right now. So curious as to how you're going to address that going forward.
Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I'll start with the table games question first. As I mentioned in our last hearing, we are uniquely situated in proximity to New York, where we compete with the Senecas on that side, and then we also are about an hour away from Cleveland on the Ohio side. And one of the things that we observed when Ohio legalized sports betting, we saw a strong correlation between sports betting and table games revenue. And so we have seen our table games revenue fall as we've seen sports betting get more adopted in Ohio, which was later than when sports betting was adopted in Pennsylvania. As it relates to online gaming, we do have a partner with Bet365. We just have a revenue share agreement with Bet365. We do not collect the revenue there. But generally what we have seen over the past couple of years is we have seen more revenue just generally across the Commonwealth move toward online gaming because it's more convenient for customers. And then, of course, the unregulated gaming space with skill games. We know we are losing wallet to customers there.
So going forward, what's the plan there to?
Yeah, our plan is we have a robust direct marketing plan, direct marketing team and strategy that operates out of our Louisville office in conjunction with our Presque Isle team. We have a host program that we use to try to make sure customers enjoy the experience and want to come back to our facility. And of course, we continue to try to reinvest in our facility to make sure we have compelling amenities for our customers.
And lastly, I just was trying to wrap my hands around the impairment issue that you had in the past, deciding to reduce revenues or add expenses for impairment costs. That was based upon revenue projections. Was that the main factor?
Yeah, I will turn that question, if it's okay, over to John Rao, who's
Okay.
online, and allow him.
So revenue projections was the main factor, at least that's what you testified to, as to the impairment of intangible assets. Is that the case?
Yes, that is correct.
So going forward, have you reduced the revenue projections or because of the numbers that are happening right now, or should we expect to see impairment things in the future, further reduction of intangible assets?
So yes, at each juncture that we have previously recorded an impairment, it was driven by reductions in current revenue and then how we envision that impacting future revenue. We do still continue to monitor the results of Presque Isle. As of the last impairment, we took a pretty aggressive cut on the projected revenues. So we have been able to stay relatively consistent with the actuals the property has been putting out recently versus what our last impairment analysis yielded. But we do, like I said, continue to monitor that. And if we did see continued significant drops in revenue, that would be a triggering event we would have to evaluate for impairment. I can't say whether or not we would be there because we'd actually have to run the numbers, but it is something we continue to monitor and is top of mind.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll stop right there, Chairman, and let the other commissioners ask. Yes, okay. I could go on for hours, trust me, but I'll pass.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up on the commissioner's question, excuse me, have you quantified the impact of the skill games on the casino? Have you actually quantified the numbers on that?
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. It is really difficult to quantify. What we have seen is what we call our unrated play, which are customers who do not card in. We have seen that business fall off. We believe there's a correlation between that unrated business and those customers who may choose to play skill games. What we can see in plain sight is a lot of skill game parlors, some with up to 30 to 40 games, and just in the 5-mile radius around us. We estimate that there's anywhere between 150 and 300 games around our property, which would be, roughly 20% of what our gaming floor is currently. And so what we also know is that customers choose convenience. And so if that skill game parlor is 2 miles from your house versus 10 miles from Presque Isle, they will likely choose that skill game parlor. Convenience always wins.
And then as a follow-up, what kinds of strategy are you putting in place to address those issues?
Yeah, as I noted earlier, we have a robust direct marketing program that we have a lot of data behind. We have a large data warehouse, and we measure patterns on our customers and try to market to them. And obviously, you have to do that in a responsible manner. You don't have an unlimited marketing budget, and you have to do that in a way that will profitably get customers back to your business. We also have a host program there. We do a lot of promotional activity on property, tried a lot of different things over the past couple of years, and some things work, some don't. We learn from those that don't work, and those that do, we try to replicate. And we also learn from our sister properties too. We find things that work at other properties that we may not have done at Presque Isle, and we adopt them at Presque, and vice versa. We've taken some great ideas from Presque Isle and adopted those at some of our other properties.
I want to say thank you to you and your staff for being so cooperative with our staff. Appreciate the cooperation and the flow of communications and information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Regan?
Yes, I don't have any additional questions. I just want to say that I appreciate, fully appreciate the assurances that you're fully on board.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Ralston?
So I'm glad that you mentioned a couple of times the direct marketing plan and how you take some ideas from other locations that you have and bring it to Presque Isle. And I guess from the last time we've met, I was just trying to figure out what's different in your current marketing strategy, because it seems that the other one wasn't working too well. So you need to make some adjustments. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what are you looking to do differently? Because some of your other locations also are in places that have skill games. So what are you seeing that's actually like working there that's helping to kind of negate or keep revenue up versus Presque Isle, which seems to be kind of, fluctuating and increase revenue?
Got it. Thank you for the question. Great question. One of the things that we have on the roadmap for Presque Isle is a shared one-card system, similar to how other operators in the state have. So right now, Presque has its own database. When we roll out that loyalty program, which we are working through the timeline, we don't have that yet, that will open up a much larger database for our Presque Isle marketing efforts. And so, as I noted, we operate, we compete with the Senecas in New York, but we also have a property in upstate New York at Del Lago. So that will open up some opportunities for us. We also have a property in South Central Ohio as well, which is in near proximity. So that's the thing I think could be most impactful for our business. And as I mentioned, direct mail is something that we're a very data-driven company, and we're always trying new things and reinvestment strategies and frequency models and lots of different things that we test and control and learn, and we see things that work and we see things that don't. So it is a constant evolution of that strategy and not a defined point in time on how our strategy works.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, thank you.
Oh,
Couldn't hear.
Commissioner Dillon?
Since our last meeting in May, have you seen an increase or decrease in business revenue based on your new business model as far as marketing and stuff like that?
yeah, we've seen mixed results, to be honest with you. We've seen some decent results in June, which was the first month after our last hearing. July was very soft. And then through mid-month in August, we're seeing a recovery again. And What we saw in July was more just loss of customer wallet, which is a continuation of, as we have seen skill games increase in number, that's what we're seeing in our database is we're losing trips and wallet from customers.
I mean, what you're planning going forward is trying to generate more traction to get into things. Do you have like a car shows or flea markets or concerts, anything like that? Is there any plan for any of that, just to get people around the casino where, you get some foot traction, you get into the casino, and once you get them in the casino, you'll pick up some customers.
Yeah, one of the things that we've actually seen some really good success with is our racing product. We have altered our post times to a little bit later in the day, and we've really seen strong increases in handle, and we see strong increases in foot traffic there. Additionally, for this year, for the second year in a row, we're going to be partnering with Parks for their Pennsylvania Derby, and so we have some pick four and some wagering opportunities there. That really drives a lot of interest across our facilities. And so in addition to all the other things we do on the casino side, we really do try to leverage the racing side as well to try to drive foot traffic to our facility. And we've seen some modest success there with changing post times.
So have you considered to do things in maybe your parking lot or like the
Yeah,
use the
we
space?
have used the parking lot, and I can let Gary speak to it. We have done some events down in the parking lot. We've done car shows. We did an eclipse event last year when the eclipse came through. And I think we try to use that lot 3 to 4 or 5 times a year. And then obviously it does function as an overflow lot too. So when we are really busy at Presque Isle, that houses casino customers too in those lots.
Okay. Have you guys done any type of analysis on why, like, you have lost business to New York, Ohio and New York? I mean, I know is it because it's newer and people want to go to the new thing, or are they offering something that maybe you guys aren't offering? Have you checked in to see why any of that is occurring?
Yeah, really I'll start with Ohio. When Presque Isle opened, there was no gaming in Ohio. And so if you look back at the trends from when the property opened, Ohio gaming started in 2012. So we have just seen that business in the Cleveland market continue to build and build and build. And those were shared customers at one point with Presque Isle, and now those customers that may be closer to Cleveland stay in Cleveland. On the flip side, and on the New York side, it's really just a difference in tax rate there. I mean, they pay 25% what the Cynic is, and we pay 67% on the slot side. And so that really impacts our ability to market there. They can give a lot more promotions, hard cost items, and free play versus what we can with a higher tax rate.
Where'd the 67 number come from?
That includes it's actually closer to 64.8, I believe, is the number, but that includes all sources of the tax, which includes the Racehorse Development Fund, the 34% property tax relief. There are 7 or 8 different components there that make up that 64.8.
Okay, and I got a ton of. I'm going to cut these down. You said that you guys were not the source of the information that got out to the public as far as, the distress situation that was portrayed. Who was the source?
We're not sure who the source is. The reason why we felt compelled to respond to that was to help dispel fear from our team members. When they heard that there was a closure message, we felt like we owed it to our team members to make sure they understood that we were not closing, and that's why we took the opportunity to do the interview. We are not sure who put that story in the public.
Okay. And my last question, as far as skill games, skill games really can't offer promotions or anything like that to get people into the doors. People are just going there because, like you said, the convenience and the proximity and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys already do slot promotions and poker promotions and everything like that. Do you think about trying to maybe up them promotions to try to get some people back in the door? Because, listen, I think people go to casinos because they like the atmosphere. Some people just like to gamble, but I think most people like to go because of the atmosphere. And there's no atmosphere playing a skilled game, so you just got to figure out ways to get these people back in the door. And I think even if it costs you a little more up front, I think it'll pay off for you in the long run. So with that, you don't need to respond to that, but I'm going to close with that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dermody, do you have any questions?
Madam Chair, just one question. I was just wondering if there are any plans for a parking garage at the casino.
We currently do not have a plan for a parking garage at the casino. We do have ample parking, as Commissioner Dillon noted, with the parking lots, and we don't feel the need to add additional supply there. And we have a large amount of parking that is really close to the building. It's convenient for customers to get into the building.
Now, you do have winners here.
Yeah, we are aware we set a world record for snowfall in Erie last winter.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Dermody. I just don't really have a question. I have just a point of clarification. You said the tax rate in New York is less, obviously.
Right.
But the patrons don't know what the tax rate is. So that's not what's driving them to New York. You're saying because the tax rate's lower, they can offer more promotions?
Exactly.
Okay, it's not the tax rate per se.
Right. It governs what level of reinvestment those casinos put into their patrons.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments at this time from the board? If not, I know OEC has a closing statement. Presque Isle, do you have a closing statement?
Nothing further, Madam Chair, from CDI.
I think I would have a brief closing statement.
You can proceed,
Okay.
Mr. Hayes.
All right, thank you. Again, on behalf of Churchill Downs and Presque Isle Downs, I want to thank the members of the board staff who worked very diligently on this renewal application, including the work that was undertaken by board staff over the last several months. Since acquiring Presque Isle Downs in January of 2019, Churchill Downs Incorporated has fulfilled its commitment to this board, its employees, the horse racing industry, and its host communities. As described in detail during this license renewal proceeding, Churchill Downs has made significant capital expenditures to improve patrons' experience and to attract new patrons in a challenging and competitive market. Earlier, you heard on the record of Churchill Downs' commitment to this property. Churchill Downs has a long and impressive record of meeting its commitments. Based on the evidence that has been presented to the board through this license renewal process, I submit the PID LLC has proven that it has the requisite good character, honesty, and integrity, and is otherwise eligible and suitable for license as a Category 1 operator. Accordingly, I respectfully request that the board approve the license renewal application of PID LLC. Before I conclude, I would personally and from an industry perspective like to thank Commissioners Ralston and Regan for your service and leadership here on the board and to the industry. And thank you for all of your hard work and efforts in shepherding really historic change in our industry during your tenure. It's been a pleasure to appear before you. With that concludes our presentation, and I'll turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. OEC, would you like to make your closing statement, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement and the Office of Enforcement Counsel have conducted an extensive evaluation of Presque Isle Downs, Inc. and its parent company, Churchill Downs Incorporated, with the goal of ensuring their continued compliance with the Pennsylvania Racehorse Development and Gaming Act. This assessment drew on both high-level corporate disclosures and detailed property-level documentation, enabling a comprehensive and balanced analysis of financial stability and operational integrity. From the outset, BIE and OEC worked independently to verify all information presented by Presque Isle and Churchill. Management testimony was measured against SEC-filed Forms 10K and 10Q, earnings releases, and credit agreement amendments to confirm the accuracy of liquidity positions, debt schedules, and cash flow trends. 6 years of Presque Isle Downs specific performance data was analyzed, including EBITDA, both before and after impairment charges, operating cash flows, and current ratio measures to assess resilience across varied market conditions. Corporate forecasts were reviewed in parallel with property-level projections, noting that while Presque Isle anticipates a modest revenue decline in 2025, Churchill's consolidated EBITDA and post-CapEx free cash flow are projected to grow through 2029, underscoring the parent company's capacity to provide financial support if required. BIE and OEC also examined Churchill's approach to asset evaluation and impairment, reviewing independent third-party assessments of trademarks and gaming rights, the valuation methodologies used, including relief from royalty and greenfield approaches, and the protocols that trigger and process adjustments. Capital reinvestment patterns were evaluated, confirming that since 2019, more than $19 million has been committed to Presque Isle, with roughly half directed to the gaming floor improvements and the remainder to enhancing infrastructure, surveillance, IT, HVAC, and racing facilities. Liquidity and debt service coverage were tested, demonstrating that quarterly operating cash flow alone could satisfy the upcoming $63.1 million debt maturity many times over, with an additional $1 billion in untapped revolver capacity. Finally, Churchill's stated readiness to meet Presque Isle's obligations was considered in the context of tangible balance sheet strength and sustained cash flow generation. The evidence demonstrates that Presque Isle presently has sufficient financial suitability and operational viability for the next 12 months, supported by positive operating cash flows in 5 of the past 6 years, a current ratio consistently above 1.0 since 2020, and the absence of any going concern issues at the parent level. However, because the record is less developed with respect to long-term suitability, BIE and OEC have crafted special conditions designed to turn this near-term confidence into continuous oversight and proactive risk mitigation. Based on this multifaceted diligence rooted in verifiable data and reinforced by independent, public, and confidential sources, OEC recommends the following special conditions as integral safeguards to ensure ongoing compliance, transparency, and the protection of the Commonwealth's interests. Special condition number 1 is an annual public presentation. Beginning August 2026 and annually thereafter, Presque Isle and Churchill shall appear before the board to present clear and convincing evidence of licensure suitability, including financial fitness and operational viability, consistent with statutory and regulatory requirements. Special condition number 2 is a quarterly financial reporting. Within 60 days after each fiscal quarter, Presque Isle shall provide BIE's Financial Investigations Unit with its quarterly balance sheet, income statements, and actual EBITDA and quarterly EBITDA budget updates. Special condition number 3 is an annual EBITDA budget. Within 60 days after the first fiscal quarter, Presque Isle shall provide BIE's Financial Investigation Unit with its full year EBITDA budget. Special condition number 4 addresses impairment valuation reports. Within 5 business days of any public impairment announcement, Churchill shall provide BIE's Financial Investigations Unit with any valuation or similar report prepared in connection with impairment testing of Presque Isle's intangible assets. Special condition number 5 is a parent company financial backstop. Whereas Churchill shall act as the financial guarantor for Presque Isle during the renewal period, covering any funding or financial shortfalls and ensuring all obligations are met unless otherwise approved by the board. And special condition number 6 is a bankruptcy restriction, which requires that Churchill shall not discharge any Presque Isle debt through bankruptcy without prior board approval, except as part of a parent-level filing in which Churchill shall provide the board and OEC with 48 hours prior notice. These conditions will keep critical financial and operational indicators, including liquidity, debt service capacity, asset valuations, and parent company support, transparent to us and subject to timely oversight. They will also safeguard unilateral actions that could undermine Presque Isle's financial stability or the integrity of its operations. In conclusion, OEC is of the opinion that Presque Isle Downs, under Churchill's ownership, is presently positioned to fulfill its obligations under the Pennsylvania Racehorse Development and Gaming Act. Adoption of these special conditions will provide the board with timely, verifiable, and comprehensive information, enabling sustained oversight and ensuring the continued protection of the Commonwealth's regulatory and economic interests. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus. Mr. Hayes, does PID and Churchill agree with those special conditions?
Mike, do you want to address
Yes,
the chair?
Madam Chair, we do agree with the special conditions.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. That concludes this proceeding. This matter will be put before the board for a vote later this morning during the Bureau of Licensing's portion of the agenda. Thank you, everyone. Now we will have our second public hearing this morning on Mountain View Thoroughbred Racing Association, LLC, doing business as Hollywood Casino Morgantown's Category 4 license renewal. They know. Okay, at this time, I would ask all non-attorneys who will be presenting evidence today in this proceeding that, for either party, that you please stand and be sworn in by the court reporter.
Would you everybody raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I would also ask everyone who's going to speak to please state and spell your name for the court reporter prior to speaking. And Hollywood, you may begin.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, ex officio members. We are pleased to be back before you today for the second license renewal hearing for Hollywood Casino Morgantown. My name is Michael Fabius from the law firm Ballard Spahr, representing Hollywood Casino. With me to my immediate left is Michelle Collins, Vice President and General Manager. To Michelle's left is Greg Stecheshin.
Close enough.
I apologize. To his left is Alex Vizda, and in the first row behind us are, if you would raise your hand, Troy Markle and Jason Johnson. We are, this is the same team that was before you in April for the public input hearing, and our intention is to be efficient with our presentation. We'll do brief musical chairs as we get Troy and Jason up as well. But with that, let me turn it first to Michelle, and let me, if I could state for the record, I provided the spelling of everyone's name for the stenographer.
Right, then all I would ask is that you state your name so that the stenographer knows who's actually speaking.
Thank you. I'm Michelle Collins. I appreciate your time, Madam Chair and Commissioners, this morning to walk through Morgantown's Hollywood Casino journey over the last 5 years. As you know, we were granted the first Category 4 license, which was a result of the Gaming Expansion Act in October of 2017. In April of 2018, Penn Entertainment bid $7.5 million. The location that we chose had been earmarked for a commercial shopping center known as the Tri-County Mall. Unfortunately, like so many different developments, they did not make it through the recession, and therefore this land was just sitting idle, not making any revenue for the local community. This is why we chose this area, because we believe we could reimagine the land, and because of this, we have created an economic engine for Berks County and local communities. We continue to reinvest in the property. Recently, we've spent $500,000 in capital to launch our ESPN Bet restaurant. Additionally, we have made that into a family-friendly restaurant. For those of you who have been in Morgantown, there's 2 restaurants, one of which is not open any day other than Tuesday nights through Saturday nights. So we knew there was an opportunity there to be able to offer more to the community, which is why we chose to look at offering family-friendly dining. In addition to that, we are looking at many different opportunities based on the property's footprint. In fact, tomorrow night we'll be doing our very first concert with the Amish Outlaws in the terrace space that we have, where we think there's an opportunity there to try entertainment. So we're excited about that. Our success in the township of Carnarvon has been seeing about 1.2 million to 1.3 in local share funds, and this year in 2025 we have already spent nearly $500,000. Our local business spend has increased from $500,000 in 2022 to nearly $2 million in 2024. Additionally, our minority and women-owned businesses has increased from $564,000 in 2022 to nearly $1 million in 2024. We have over 17 different minority and women-owned businesses. This includes cleaners, supplies, entertainment, and produce. We are excited to continue to develop opportunities with the local community and other minority groups. With this, I will turn it over to Greg.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. When we talk about gaming, it's a great story, as you can see from the slide. We're trending in the right direction in all the areas. Specifically looking at slots, we're at 672 slots currently with our OP that's going on. And for the first half of the year, coin-in is up about $20 million. 34% of the inside gaming area is smoking. For the property, it's 42%, but 56 of those are out on the smoking terrace. We added a high-limit slot zone in April 2023 and just expanded that in 2025 to one of the largest high-limit areas in Pennsylvania. We've also upgraded our slot product, continually trying to be the first to market with the new slot releases, and we're spending about $2.2 million annually on that. On the table side, with our current OP, we're actually increasing our table count, so we're growing there. We have 24 tables, 1 electronic bank, and 5 poker tables. We're always trying to update the mix based on the consumer response. Poker, we opened in 2024. We moved it in 2025, trying to grow it and expand it, and we just started a bad beat and high hand in the poker room. For the first half of this year, we've had over $331,000 in drops, so again, a good story there. On the table side, we are linked to 4 other we offer a linked progressive to our 3 other properties in Pennsylvania, and that gives guests an opportunity to win a life-changing amount for just a $5 bet. The odds of that are substantially better than something like a Powerball. When we look at those individual progressives, we have our blackjack one, which we've had the 2 largest jackpots statewide, both occur at our property. There's also the 5-card one for the carnival games. We had 2 very large jackpots hit. One was for $837,000 at the Meadows, and one for $682,000 at York. And shortly, we'll be adding a 3rd statewide progressive for Face Up Pie Gow that'll link with a couple of other properties. On the sports side, we're rebranded to ESPN Bet. And revenues were down a little bit year over year on sports, but that's because of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. So, we're okay with that. I am a Chiefs fan, but we'll take it. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Troy. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Greg. My name is Troy Markle. As the director, it's my job to get people to experience everything we offer. We recently rebranded Hollywood as a whole. The reasoning, which ties perfect into non-gaming, is to highlight all the different aspects we offer aside from just slots and tables. The brand itself is fresh, new, and exciting, and it highlights all the different amenities, whether it's a fantastic meal, amazing cocktails, live entertainment. Each property offers something different, and the new branding highlights it all. I'm relatively new to the property, but in my short time there, we've made tremendous changes. We have 3 different dining concepts. First being our sportsbook, which is already mentioned by Michelle. Earlier this year, we rebranded to ESPN Bet Restaurant, which features a new and improved menu, a game room complete with multiple skee ball games, pinball machines, arcade games, and a Pop-A-Shot. During the rebrand, we separated the space completely from the gaming floor to offer all ages dining to appeal to a larger audience. On the all ages note, we had our youngest patron at just 3 weeks old at the end of July for our Shane Victorino meet and greet. We had over 500 people in ESPN Bet restaurant for the event, which was a fantastic experience for all Phillies fans. We have great partnership with the Phillies that allows us to do these type of events to the public. We're also using this partnership to give back. We have Philly specials at ESPN Bet, where a portion of the sales benefit the I'm Able Foundation, which includes those living with physical, cognitive, and behavioral disabilities in physical activity with adaptive equipment and inclusive programming opportunities. Next, Tony Luke's has been a constant for cheesesteak since opening, which we know is a staple in this area. Lastly, and this is actually a change from the last time we all met, we converted our old Asian outlet to a snack bar offering quick bites, which features a fantastic smash burger, I might add. And we're also looking forward to offering breakfast at the snack bar very soon. Additionally, Bar 76, where you can get some killer cocktails, is the place to be with free live entertainment every weekend. That's right, no charge. Just show up and enjoy the show. As Michelle already mentioned, we are expanding our entertainment offerings. In fact, tomorrow we're offering Amish Outlaws at our south patio at 8 to 10 p.m. Once again, free of charge to the public. Maybe we'll see everyone there, some of you here, who knows? And additionally, wrapping up here, our goal is for people to see not only Hollywood Casino Morgantown, but also Morgantown as a whole as a destination. By offering these non-gaming amenities, as well as utilizing our regional and local partnerships like the Phillies Partnership, I'm Able Foundation, the Classic Auto Mall, Holiday in Morgantown, etc., we expect to see growing visitation in our area. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jason to talk about our people.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jason Johnson. I'm the Director of Human Resources at Hollywood Morgantown, and I'm going to talk about our team members. So reflecting our community, our team members, 99% of them are Pennsylvania residents, and 82% of that being in the Tri-County area, Berks, Lancaster, and Chester. Of our team members, we have 42% female and 29.6% racial minority, which is about 1.5% above more diverse than what Berks County is, and about 6% of Chester County. Of our exempt employees, we're 31% female and 25.5% racial minority. Full-time, we have about 76 full-time team members and 24% part-time. And then our between salaried and hourly, we have 21% salaried and 79% hourly. For Growing Together, we've seen 68 hourly to salary promotions since the property has opened. 32% of that's female, 13% racial minority, and 56% is under 40. We have 13 workforce development programs, and since 2022, we only had 2. So as a company, we have grown a lot into investing in our people. One of those major ones is our Emerging Leaders Program, where we take hourly team members to a 13-week leadership course and develop them into managers. And with keeping it fun, our turnover has been about 62% annually. But with that, our retention rate is about 66%. So we have 68 team members that are still on property that's been there since day one, and 206 have been with us out of the average of 304 for more than 1 year.
All right, Alex Vizda, Director of Compliance. I'll take over with the community outreach. So this is central to our mission. As you've heard from each speaker up here, we don't just want to be a casino in Morgantown. We want to be part of the Morgantown community. So from the first time we opened the doors, we've been focusing on how we can support our local communities, and that includes direct donations. It includes leftover Tito's or the ability to donate your spare change from the kiosks, employee payroll contributions, and different promotions we do that have a charitable component to them. As Jason mentioned, we've been doing a charitable program this summer with the I Am Able Foundation and the Philadelphia Phillies to generate some more donations for I Am Able. But as you can see there on the right, we try to focus on the entities that have the biggest impact on our community, including the fire department, the food pantry, Veterans Mary Shelter, which is for women and children in distress, PA Breast Cancer Coalition, and I Am Able, which is for differently abled individuals. We don't just use our pocketbooks. We like to get out there with our hands and feet so people see us being a part of the community. We volunteer with the food pantry, the Veteran Affairs National Day of Service, the Children's Home of Reading, Helping Harvest Food Bank, Easter Seals, and Relay for Life. So, talking about our community and what you heard in the prior presentation from Presque Isle, there is a skill games impact. So, what we did prior to this was I went and I looked at 116 different locations, personally went there that were within a 10-mile radius of the property. And I found over 168 skill games at 35 locations. And this was a couple months ago when I did this, so it's probably much more than that. At the top there, I have 3 pictures. One's a skill game, one's a slot, and one's a VGT. As you can see, the customer can't tell which is which. The slot machine is taxed at over 50%. It's connected to the central control computer system. It has surveillance. It has responsible gaming controls. It has a component that's going to the local community with the local share funds. The VGT is taxed at over 50%, connected to the central control computer system, has surveillance, has responsible gaming controls, has a local share component that's supporting the local community. And then one's a skill game, not taxed, no regulation, no responsible gaming controls, no surveillance, no control, no connection to the central control computer system. And this is what we're up against. In the previous presentation, you asked about the skill games companies. They are offering incentives to people. When I was at one, I was offered free food and beverage. There's a parlor that opened just across the river in Camp Hill that when I visited them last summer, they gave me a business card, a $10 credit for $20 of play. That's the same thing we do. And we've previously seen on social media these places advertising slot tournaments. And in fact, the bottom picture there in the center is a smoke shop that is located just 1 mile from Morgantown, the casino. And they literally, you can see in big letters on the front of it, they're advertising slots. They're not even trying to pretend that these are anything other than slot machines. And so this is what we're up against, and it's proliferating more and more. What I think is particularly interesting about this area around Morgantown is that our 10-mile radius went into Lancaster County. And if you recall, Lancaster County opted out of regulated and taxed VGTs. But we found 17 locations with over 62 skill games there, including a parlor in New Holland with 24 of them, a place in Lancaster that had 12 of them, and a place in Ephrata that back in April was just about to open, but is probably open now. So we now have unregulated, untaxed games all over a county that acted to prevent taxed and regulated games, and you can see it's out of control. But this is what we are up against every single day, and trying to have the consumer understand the difference is exceedingly difficult. So with that, I'll get off my soapbox, and we will take any questions that you have.
OEC, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Shelby Bizup, B-I-Z-U-B, Assistant Enforcement Counsel with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. Also with me today is Assistant Enforcement Counsel David Denotaris, D-E-N-O-T-A-R-I-S. And just a couple of questions. So as of today, does Morgantown have any plans to reduce or change the number of slot machines or table games?
Yes and no. So we have an OP-14 that was just approved 2 weeks ago that we're working through. As Greg mentioned, we added a new blackjack pit that takes our total table count up by 1 table, but we're also reducing from 675 down 3 to 672 slots, and that's solely just to make sure we have clearances in the aisleways.
Okay. And will that result in any reduction to the gaming floor? No. And will it have any impact on the employees at Morgantown?
No.
Okay. And how does Morgantown track or monitor the effectiveness of team member training?
Sure. So our training is computer-based training. We have an internal audit team that ensures that all team members have completed their training timely. And then in terms of knowledge check, the biggest one is responsible gaming. And we do that through constant reminders and pre-shifts and back of house. But also my team, in conjunction with HR, we take a random sample of employees every quarter and we pop quiz them on our responsible gaming controls to make sure that they are carrying that out. We also, whenever we have any incidents, whether it's a public safety incident or it's a responsible gaming incident, we have a review with the executive team afterwards to ensure that all our procedures were carried out as they were intended to be, and if not, we issue discipline and corrective action.
And you mentioned briefly the employee to leadership training. Are all employees eligible for that training, or do they have to be there for a specific time?
Only the Emerging Leaders Program, you have to be on board for 6 months
Okay.
before becoming eligible.
Thank
All
you.
others, they're eligible.
Thank you. OEC has no further questions.
I'm going to turn to my fellow commissioners. Any questions? Commissioner Manzano-Diaz.
Yes, you mentioned the skill games. The question I have you been able to quantify how much either the revenue that they are collectively, I guess, engaged with, or how much it's impacting monetarily to your operations?
Sure. So how much, to give you an exact number, it's difficult because I believe it was Senator Ward noted that they won't open up their books to anybody and show anybody how much they're making and or how much these locations are getting from the share. In terms of us, the way I look at it is I look at the numbers that the board reported for the end of fiscal year 18-19 that ended on 6/30/19, because that is sort of the control, because after that time is when iGaming and VGTs and expanded gaming started. And then I look at the most recent fiscal year that ended on June 30th of 2025. And on June 30th in 2019, we had 12 land-based casinos. We now have 17 land-based casinos, and we have iGaming and we have VGTs. And I look at those 12 land-based casinos as my control, and I can see they all have less slot machines. And I can see that, at least for us, where we had the most competition coming in, our numbers are down. But when you look at them as a whole, and you look at the change in the slots at those 12 original casinos and the change in the tables, you can see that the slots are being more impacted than the tables. So if I try to do an apples-to-apples comparison, online gaming has both slots and tables. Land-based gaming has both slots and tables. VGTs is a very, very small piece of it. So what's the other thing out there that would explain why slots are being more impacted than tables at the existing 12 control casinos? And I have to assume that it's skill games, because as I showed in there, look at the three, a skill game and a VGT and a slot next to each other. They're practically identical. So to the consumer, number one, it's right where you are. Number two, we're paying over 50% tax. So when we talk about giving them incentives, we have to think about the tax rate with how much incentives we get. If you're not paying any tax, you can give whatever incentives you want to go play those things. VGTs, we're not allowed to give any incentives whatsoever. That's baked right into the statute. There's no incentives to induce the playing of a VGT.
Thank you.
If I may add as well, the other impact is around really our efforts for responsible gaming. There's an assumption that's probably correct that most people who self-exclude are now going to play the skill games because there's no regulations.
Any other questions from any commissioners? Commissioner Dermody, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam Chairman.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners? I would just ask, how do you select your internal staff to participate in the Emerging Leaders Program?
So all team members that are eligible, they apply themselves. We put signage out all around the casino with QR codes to where they apply for the program themselves.
And how many people can participate in the program at any given time?
That's a good question. Part of it is, I would say to guess, 8 to 10, because it's also staffing to make sure that the program is ran with high quality and not quantity.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you. Alex, do you want to move your PowerPoint? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry. I know Alex is also a lawyer, but not serving in that capacity. So, Michael, sorry.
We would love to move our presentation into the record, and we thank the board, we thank the staff for their diligence, and we thank Commissioners Reagan and Ralston for your service on the board. Thank you very much.
OEC, do you have a presentation?
OEC does not have a presentation, but I would like to make a formal statement for the record. Prior to this hearing, the Office of Enforcement Counsel provided the board in Hollywood Morgantown with additional documents for review. This includes an updated letter from the Pennsylvania State Police's Office of Chief Counsel's Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement, confirming that there were no enforcement actions taken against Morgantown since the Office of Chief Counsel's letter dated March 7, 2025. The updated letter is marked as OEC Exhibit 2A. OEC also provided Morgantown's statement of account provided by the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, which is marked as OEC Exhibit 4A. OEC would like to note that it has not taken any enforcement actions against Morgantown since its public input hearing on April 2nd, 2025. At this time, OEC respectfully requests that these exhibits be entered into the record with Exhibit 4A marked as confidential.
No objection.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing. And while OEC does not have a formal presentation, OEC has submitted a final background investigation report on Morgantown, and the Bureau of Licensing has submitted its renewal suitability report to the board, which encompasses reports from all required PGCB offices and bureaus. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, do you have any questions for OEC?
We do not.
Does the board have any questions for OEC? Commissioner Dermody, do you have any questions for OEC?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay. Would you like to make a final statement, or you don't have to?
I think the record covers it. Thank you very much.
OEC, final statement?
No, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. That concludes this proceeding. This matter will also be put before the board for a vote later during the Bureau of Licensing's portion of the agenda. Thank you. I would like to now turn to our regular meeting business and ask for approval of the meeting transcript and minutes from the June 25th, 2025 meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the board approve the minutes and the transcript of June 25, 2025 meeting.
Commissioner Dillon agrees.
Is that a second, Commissioner Dillon?
That's a second, Chair.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted. We will now hear from our Executive Director, Kevin O'Toole. Kevin. He's such a smarty ass.
Good morning, Chair Smiler. Good morning, members of the board. For my executive director's report this morning, I'm going to modify it a little bit. We've heard some really good information from several licensees about table games and slot operations. So it's not surprising that this morning we issued our revenue press release for the month of July. And my executive director's report mentions that the continued increase in iGaming, that trend continues on through July. Excellent revenue from all sources of $557 million. And of course, that revenue generated a significant amount of tax revenue, $238,543,797 during the month of July. So those are success stories. Those are what the legislature hoped for when the gambling expansion bill was passed. and it has been successful. And every time I mention that, I always say how hard the operators work to meet the figures that they have attained in previous years. And that continues to be the trend as well. Although in July there were 17 land-based casinos, 14 of them did have an increase in slot revenue, modestly, and 3 had a reduction in percentage-wise, and that was relatively modest as well. So there's still a lot of work to do in a lot of different areas to continue the success of legalized, regulated, and taxed gaming in the jurisdiction, and we'll leave that to future discussions. So I will turn my attention now over to my role as executive director, and I would like to thank, on behalf of myself personally and on behalf of the staff, I'd like to express our appreciation for the outstanding work that Commissioner Nadia Ralston has provided to the agency for the last 4.5 years. And we wish you all the best luck in all of your future endeavors. And thank you for your service. That's my report for today.
Thank you, Kevin. We will now hear from our Director of Financial Management, David Wren. Dave.
Good morning. Dave Wren, RHEN. Today I'm going to provide a final report on expenses for fiscal year 24-25, which concluded June 30th. And although the fiscal year is completed, we still do see some invoices trickle in, so the numbers will continue to grow slightly, but are almost complete. For the year, expenditures totaled $56.5 million against an appropriation of $57.2 million, giving us an anticipated ending balance of around $700,000. Overall, expenditures increased by approximately $4.6 million from the prior year due to higher payroll costs and costs related to the IT modernization effort that we're undertaking. Approximately 87% of expenses, or $49.4 million, were for personnel. This consisted of $29.1 million for salaries, $20.1 million for benefits, and $200,000 for retirement leave payouts. Benefits as a percentage of salaries were 69.2%. Personnel costs increased $2.8 million, or 6% from the prior year. This is due to the expansion of the complement and salary increases. In the operating category, expenditures totaled $7.1 million. The largest operating expenditures were for services, predominantly the IT modernization costs and interagency billings provided by other Commonwealth agencies at $3.5 million. This is nearly half of all operating expenses for the year. Rentals and leases at $1.7 million, accounting for 23% of operating expenses, and other operating expenditures, which is primarily subscriptions used for database searches, at $1.3 million, or 19% of operating expenses. Operating expenses rose by approximately $1 million compared to the prior year, due almost entirely to the board's IT modernization project. That concludes my remarks on the budget. We also do have an appropriation for fiscal year 25-26 at $60,423,000.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Now we will hear from our Human Resources Director, Heidi Zula. Heidi.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The Office of Human Resources has one motion for your consideration today relative to the hiring of 4 individuals. All individuals have completed the background investigation and drug screening and are ready for presentation to the board. Mason Kaiser Trout has been selected as a casino compliance representative at Hollywood Casino York, and Zachary Parr has been selected as a casino compliance representative at Parks Casino Shippensburg. Both individuals are recommended for hire by Greg Hazori, Director of Casino Compliance. Blake Brewer has been selected as a sports wagering compliance representative with the Office of Sports Wagering Operations and is recommended for hire by Kevin Kyle, Director of Sports Wagering Operations. And Austin Orris has been selected as an auditor with the Bureau of Gaming Operations and is recommended for hire by Paul Resch, Director of Gaming Operations. Unless you have any questions, I ask that the board consider a motion to approve the hiring actions as indicated.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the applicants for hire as proposed by the Human Resource Director.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Next is our Office of Chief Counsel, but before they proceed, we are going to take a 10-minute break, and we will be back. Maybe only 5 minutes, we'll see. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you guys if you had any questions.
The only thing I would ask, that copy, some copy to the waste. That's nothing. I can ask. No, what were you watching? Oh, okay. I'm watching two. Crazy.
Okay, everyone, we're back on the record, and we're now going to proceed with the Office of Chief Counsel.
Morning. The first agenda item under the Office of Chief Counsel report is a proposed rulemaking, which Senior Counsel Robert Wood will present.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. This morning, as Steve has said, I have one item for the board's consideration, proposed rulemaking number 125-256. This relates to updates to board regulations. This proposed rulemaking takes the opportunity to open up and update older provisions of the board's regulations, some of which have language dating back to early days of regulated gaming in this Commonwealth. This proposed rulemaking covers sections 401 through 471 of the board's regulations, specifically Subpart A, general provisions, Subpart B, licensing, permitting, certification, and registration, Subpart C, slot machine licensing, Subpart D, record keeping, Subpart E, slot machine, table game devices and associated equipment, testing and controls, accounting and internal controls, and finally, Subpart F, fees. In recognition of the breadth of this rulemaking, we are going to be utilizing an extended 90-day public comment period to allow the industry and those in the public to express any concerns in any regulation under this proposal or broadly these sections. Prior to this morning's meeting, copies of this rulemaking have been provided to the board, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on them. If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve this proposed rulemaking.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board adopt proposed rulemaking number 125-256 regarding regulatory updates as described by the Office of Chief Counsel.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Thank you.
Today, the board has two petitions before it. Each of these petitions are being brought before the board on the documentary record as there's been no objections to the requested relief. In each of these matters, the board has, in advance of this meeting today, been provided with the complete evidentiary record. The first petition before the board today is Boost Consulting LLC's request seeking intervention in two challenges to the confiscation of funds by an iGaming operator that are pending in the board's Office of Hearings and Appeals. Boost Consulting LLC is a company that provides consulting services to clients on how to best take advantage of sign-up and other promotions offered by licensed online sportsbooks and casinos. Specifically, Boost avers that it will provide their clients with information on strategy and guidance to help them make informed decisions about how to best take advantage of promotions. It is Boost's position that it does this within the parameters of the Pennsylvania Racehorse Development and Gaming Act, the board's regulations, and the terms and conditions of any operator promotion. By way of background, in September of 2024, the board issued industry guidance to all interactive gaming and sports wagering operators, which laid out procedures to be followed in order to confiscate funds from patron accounts when fraudulent activity was suspected on those accounts. When a patron is notified by the operator that their account is suspected of fraud and it is subject to suspension and confiscation of funds, the patron has 30 days to file a challenge to that confiscation with the board. In April of 2025, two individuals, David Shoemaker and Alexander Lowley, filed challenges to the confiscation of funds initiated by Digital Gaming Corporation, an interactive gaming operator licensed by the board. Upon receipt of Mr. Shoemaker's and Mr. Lowley's challenges to the confiscation of funds, Digital Gaming filed a response claiming that these two gentlemen, using Boost's tactics, violated board regulations and/or the terms and conditions of the promotion at issue. Boost Consulting has now filed their request to intervene in the Shoemaker and Lowley challenges, stating that they have a direct and immediate interest in the proceedings. Specifically, Boost wishes to provide information on how their business operates in Pennsylvania and other jurisdictions, further stating that their interests will not be adequately represented by Mr. Shoemaker nor Mr. Lowley individually, notwithstanding these two individuals both working as consultants to Boost, or for Boost. Digital Gaming Corporation has not objected to the requested intervention. The Office of Chief Counsel has no objection to Boost being granted intervention in this matter. Additionally, the Office of Chief Counsel further recommends that the Board, sua sponte, grant intervenor status to the Office of Enforcement Counsel on behalf of the various bureaus of the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board so as to allow the staff's position on these practices to be considered, and this matter is now ripe for the Board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz moves that the board grant the motion to intervene as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, subject to the conditions listed in the board's order, so as to ensure that the board has all of the information necessary to make informed decision on the underlying matters. I further move that the Office of Enforcement Counsel, as counsel for various bureaus of the board, be joined as an intervener as well.
Commissioner Ralston seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next petition before the Board, and the final petition before the Board, is a request for removal from the self-exclusion list filed by an individual with the initials KH. On April 23rd, 2015, KH placed himself on the self-exclusion list, choosing the lifetime self-exclusion option. On May 30th, 2025, KH filed his request for removal from the list, stating that he had placed himself on the list during a time when the casinos provided a place for him to escape from stressors of life, including the death of his mother. KH states he would like to be able to now enjoy the entertainment that casinos provide. As required by board regulations, KH provided the required problem gambling assessment verification form signed by a certified assessment provider, confirming that an assessment of KH was performed and that problem gambling treatment was not recommended. The Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer, not an objection, excuse me, stating that it has no objection to KH's request as it has been over 10 years since his placement on the list. He submitted all of the required documentation, and there are known violations of the self-exclusion ban, and this matter is now ripe for the Board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board grant KH petition for removal from the casino self-exclusion list as described by the Office of Chief Counsel.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next, presenting withdrawals and reports and recommendations is Deputy Chief Counsel Chad Zimmerman.
Good morning, Commissioners. The next matter before the Board today pertains to several unopposed petitions to withdraw applications or surrender the credentials of the following individuals and entities: David Goldberg, Eric Green, Jan Roos, Seamus McGill, Sylvia Tiscareno, Vicky Gavayan, Susan Barcy, Barbara Shattuck-Cohn, Saul Reibstein, Cecil Watson, Randy Taylor, Paul Finch, Michael Rumboltz, Maureen Malarkey Miller, Linster Walter Fox Jr., Jeffrey Judge, Deborah Nutton, Atul Bali, Bensalem Park Maintenance Limited, Greenwood Table Games Services, Inc., Eladia Filaratu, Seisman Murawski, Melissa Bankston, Ilkim Hinser, Timothy Lambert, the T&J Fallon Family Trust, and Matthew Ellis. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no objections to any of these withdrawals or surrenders. As a result, if the Board chooses to grant these requests, it would be doing so without prejudice to the requester. It should be noted that Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment filed a motion for confidentiality along with their petition to surrender and withdraw, seeking to maintain certain exhibits attached to their petition as confidential. OEC has no objection to the request, and OCC believes it should be granted, and these matters are all now ripe for the Board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Regan moves that the Board issue orders to approve the withdrawals and surrenders as described by the Office of Chief Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Next before the board for consideration are 8 reports and recommendations received from the Office of Hearings and Appeals. These reports and recommendations, along with the evidentiary record for each hearing, have been provided to the board in advance of today's meeting. Additionally, the persons involved in each have been notified that the board is considering their matter today and that each would have the ability to come forward and briefly address the board. The first report and recommendation before the board today is Bradford Blakeney. By way of background, in November of 2023, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint for emergency suspension of Mr. Blakeney's non-gaming employee registration after receiving notice that he had been criminally charged with a felony, misdemeanors, and a summary offense following a domestic violence incident with his son's mother. As a result of the charges, the board's executive director issued an emergency order of suspension on Mr. Blakeney's registration. A hearing on this matter was held, and consequently, February 21st, 2024, the board issued an order that the suspension of Mr. Blakeney's registration remain in effect. In July of 2024, Mr. Blakeney filed a request to lift the suspension of his registration. OEC filed an answer stating it had no objection to the request as the felony charge against Mr. Blakeney had been dismissed. The matter, however, was remanded to the Office of Hearings and Appeals to create an evidentiary record, and a hearing was held in May of 2025. Both OEC and Mr. Blakeney appeared at the hearing. Evidence presented at the hearing showed in an affidavit of probable cause, which was based on statements from the mother of Mr. Blakeney's son, where she stated that at her home the parties argued, he then choked her, slammed her across her bed, and struck her multiple times. Mr. Blakeney testified to the incident, stating he was visiting his son at his son's mother's home. He did acknowledge that they argued. However, he says he left the home realized he forgot his keys, phone, and other personal items in his son's room. He attempted to go back and retrieve the items, where she refused to let him in, and he did admit to hitting the door and breaking the lock. Mr. Blakeney further testified that he told her he was going to get his visitation, and then he left to go to work. That he also stated he was not present when she then spoke to the police. He further stated that the affidavit of probable cause stated that she had no visible signs of injury. Mr. Blakeney did not provide any testimony in regards to the alleged physical assault. He did plead guilty to misdemeanor simple assault charge and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. At the time of the hearing, he had completed 1 year of his probation. A hearing and the report and recommendation was issued recommending that the suspension of Mr. Blakeney's registration be lifted. This matter is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board reject the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Bradford Blakeney's petition to lift the suspension of his non-gaming employee registration be denied and the suspension of his registration remain in effect, subject to the conditions which will be outlined in the board's order.
Commissioner Dillon, seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next report and recommendation before the board pertains to Zane Raccoon. On August 27, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint for emergency suspension of Mr. Raccoon's gaming employee occupation permit after receiving notice that he had been criminally charged with felonies, a misdemeanor, and a summary offense. Specifically, Mr. Raccoon, while heavily intoxicated, got into a physical argument with his girlfriend, now wife, resulting in him being charged with strangulation, simple assault, harassment, and aggravated assault. As a result of these charges, the board's executive director issued an emergency suspension, suspending Mr. Raccoon's permit. A hearing in this matter was held September 2024, and consequently in January 2025, the board issued an order continuing the suspension of Mr. Raccoon's permit. On January 7, 2025, prior to that board order, Mr. Raccoon filed a petition to lift the suspension of his permit because the felony charges had been dismissed. OEC filed an answer objecting to Mr. Raccoon's request, and a hearing was held in March of 2025. OEC appeared and presented testimony and documentary evidence. Mr. Raccoon appeared and testified on his own behalf. Evidence and testimony presented at the hearing showed that Mr. Raccoon had pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor of recklessly endangering another person, that all other charges were dismissed, and that he had been sentenced to 2 years of probation, with the condition that he complete a batterer's intervention program and refrain from using alcohol. Mr. Raccoon testified that he had been attending classes for battery intervention and working on appropriate responses to conflict and communication, using nonviolent communication techniques, and is addressing his alcohol concerns. He further stated that he is currently employed. OEC argued that the reduction in criminal charges did not warrant a lifting of the suspension, as the suspension was not just based on the felonies, but also the actions that led to his charges. After hearing all the evidence presented, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Reckon's request to lift the emergency suspension of his permit be granted, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board reject the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Zane Reckon's petition to lift the suspension of his gaming employee occupational permit be denied, and that the suspension of his permit remain in effect, subject to the conditions which will be outlined in the board's order.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next report and recommendation before the board today is Neil Gray Jr. Mr. Gray holds a gaming employee occupation permit and worked as a guest services representative at Live Casino Pittsburgh. On August 2nd, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint for emergency suspension of Mr. Gray's permit after receiving notice that he'd been charged with felony and misdemeanor offenses. As a result of these charges, the executive director issued an emergency order suspending Mr. Gray's permit. An informal hearing request was received from Mr. Gray, and a hearing was held in August of 2024, resulting in a temporary decision and order by Hearings and Appeals upholding the effectiveness of the suspension. Thereafter, a formal hearing was held June 18, 2025. OEC appeared at the hearing and offered testimony and documentary evidence. Mr. Gray also appeared pro se, however, he elected not to testify. Evidence and testimony presented by OEC showed that on August 9, 2024, Mr. Gray broke down the door of a home belonging to Brittany Goodwin, the mother of his child. Upon entering the kitchen, Mr. Gray was confronted by one of Miss Goodwin's other children and fled the home. Mr. Gray was charged with 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor offense for his actions. Following a hearing, report and recommendation was issued recommending that the suspension of Mr. Gray's permit remain in effect, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearing and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that the suspension of Neil Gray's gaming employee occupation permit remain in effect.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next before the board is Isaiah Velasquez's report and recommendation. Mr. Velasquez holds a gaming employee occupation permit and had worked as a front desk receptionist at Rivers Casino, Philadelphia. On May 13, 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint for emergency suspension of Mr. Velasquez's permit after receiving notice that he had been criminally charged with felony offenses. As a result of these charges, the board's executive director issued an emergency order suspending Mr. Velasquez's permit. A hearing in this matter was held June of 2025. OEC appeared at the hearing providing testimony and documentary evidence. Mr. Velasquez failed to appear at the hearing and it was held in his absence. Evidence presented showed that on August 25, 2024, while working at the Best Western Plus Hotel, he had broken into 2 safes, stealing $3,000 and also stealing an additional $110 from the front register. He was charged with several theft-related felonies. Consequently, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that the suspension of Mr. Velasquez's permit remain in effect, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the board adopt the report and commission issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that the suspension of Isaiah Velasquez gaming employee occupation permit remain in effect.
Commissioner Ralston seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next report and recommendation before the board today pertains to Rashawn Oakman. Mr. Oakman holds a gaming employee occupation permit and had worked as a table games dealer at Live Casino Philadelphia. On December 16, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint to revoke Mr. Oakman's permit, alleging that he had violated the rules of table games on 4 separate occasions. A hearing in this matter was held May of 2025. OEC appeared offering testimonial, documentary, and surveillance evidence. Mr. Oakman appeared and testified on his own behalf. Evidence and testimony presented at the hearing showed that on August 22, 2024, while dealing Spanish 21 at Live Philadelphia, Mr. Oakman engaged in misconduct. Specifically, Mr. Oakman was found misdealing hit cards to a patron, failing to collect the patron's losing wager, and then also checking his cards for blackjack prior to offering the patron the opportunity to place an insurance wager. This resulted in the patron placing insurance wagers and being paid out for those wagers. Mr. Oakman had worked in the industry as a table games dealer for 14 years. Mr. Oakman testified that he was having a bad day at work However, he denied looking at his whole card prior to offering insurance. Both he and the patron denied any collusion. After hearing all the evidence presented, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Oakman's permit be revoked, and this matter is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Rashawn Oakman's gaming employee occupation permit be revoked.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next before the board is Tilo Smith's report and recommendation. In June 2023, Mr. Smith was issued a non-gaming employee registration and worked as a food and beverage shift supervisor at Valley Forge Casino Resort. On December 10, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint to revoke Mr. Smith's permit after Valley Forge terminated him for stealing. A hearing in this matter was held June of 2025. OEC appeared offering testimonial and documentary evidence. However, Mr. Smith failed to appear. Evidence and testimony presented by OEC showed that on March 13, 2024, Valley Forge's food court manager found 21 blue money bags, each with differing amounts of change inside, along with a bank slip that had Mr. Smith's name on it, on a desk that was used by Mr. Smith. Upon being confronted, Mr. Smith admitted to taking cash, stating he was borrowing money from the bags for a personal need, further stating he intended to return the funds. It was found that between December 1, 2023 and March 11, 2024, Mr. Smith had stolen over $8,000. He was terminated for his actions, but no charges have been filed. Following a hearing, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Smith's registration be revoked, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Regan moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Tilo Smith's non-gaming employee registration be revoked.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next before the board is Alexander Santiago's report and recommendation pertaining to his request for removal from the board's involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Santiago was placed on the list in March of 2017. In January of 2025, he filed his request for removal from the list. OEC filed an answer objecting to that request. A hearing in this matter was held May of 2025. OEC appeared but did not provide any additional testimony or documentary evidence. Mr. Santiago appeared and testified on his own behalf. Evidence presented at the hearing showed that on May 23, 2015, Mr. Santiago had capped bets on 4 occasions while playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em Poker at Sugar House Casino, which is now Rivers, Philadelphia, resulting in him winning $90 to which he was not entitled to receive. Also, in January 2016, he again capped bets on several occasions while playing the same game at Harrah's, Philadelphia, resulting in him winning $25 to which he was not entitled. He was banned from the casino and charged with gaming, theft, and drug-related offenses, eventually pleading guilty to a minor possession of marijuana charge. Mr. Santiago testified that he is a single father, that he's earned his associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and master's degree in social work. He provided copies of each of his diplomas and an email that showing he's been accepted and is working on obtaining his doctor of social work from Capella University. Mr. Santiago has been on the list for 8 years, has shown remorse for his actions, and taken steps to further his education and open up employment opportunities for himself. Additionally, he has not violated the board's order and had no interactions with law enforcement since 2016. Following the hearing, the report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Santiago be removed from the involuntary exclusion list, and the matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? I have a motion, please.
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Alexander Santiago's petition for removal from the involuntary exclusion list be granted.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The final report and recommendation before the board today is Jafar Hatton. On June 13, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Jafar Hatton on the board's involuntary exclusion list. A hearing in this matter was held May 15, 2025. OEC appeared presenting testimonial, video, and documentary evidence. Mr. Hatton appeared and testified on his own behalf. Evidence and testimony presented at the hearing showed that on August 13, 2022, Mr. Hatton parked his vehicle across the street from the 10th Street entrance to Live Casino and Hotel in Philadelphia, leaving his 6-year-old and 13-year-old sons in the vehicle while he entered the casino and gamed at sports betting kiosks. Security noticed the children, called Pennsylvania State Police. The children had been in the car for approximately 8 minutes before security noticed them, and then it was approximately an additional 12 minutes before Mr. Hatton was escorted back to the vehicle. It was 92 degrees outside. The vehicle was not running. The windows were rolled down. Mr. Hatton was permanently evicted from the casino. However, no criminal charges were filed. A report and recommendation was issued recommending that Jafar Hatton be placed on the board's involuntary exclusion list, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and Jafar Hatton be placed on the involuntary exclusion list.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's adopted.
That concludes the matters of the Office of Chief Counsel. Before I give up the microphone, I also wanted to give my best to Commissioner Ralston. It's been a pleasure to serve with you, and as I said to Commissioner Regan a couple months ago, you've been one of the best board members we've ever had, now second to only the 5 remaining board members. So best of luck.
Seconded.
Means so much, doesn't it?
Thank you, Robert, Chad, and Steve. We will now have the Bureau of Licensing matters presented by the Director of the Bureau of Licensing, Sean Hannon. Sean.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Today's first licensing matter for your consideration is the renewal of PID LLC, doing business as Presque Isle Downs Casinos, Category 1 license. The license renewal hearing for this entity is now complete. The Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement has completed its investigation of the company, and the Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report regarding the renewal. As a result, the license renewal is ready for your consideration. I have provided you with a draft order and asked the board to consider the order to renew the Category 1 license for PID LLC.
Thank you. Glenn Stewart with the Office of Enforcement Counsel, STUART. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no objection at this time.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion on this matter, I'd like to make a brief statement. The board has taken a very close look at this license renewal, and we would first like to thank the efforts of the board staff, particularly the Financial Investigations Unit within the Bureau of Investigations and the Office of Enforcement Counsel, for providing us with the tools and information which allowed us to perform a detailed analysis. We realize that conducting such a thorough and detailed review, which we were obligated to do, may have been a little disconcerting to the people of Erie, particularly the good people that work for Presque Isle Downs, Presque Isle's suppliers, and its patrons. What I would like to say to those people is that the board is renewing this license for 5 years, and while there will be conditions on Presque Isle Downs requiring ongoing monitoring by the board, we are confident that Presque Isle Downs, with the financial support of the Churchill Downs organization behind it, will continue to be open, and with ongoing modifications, we are hopeful that once again it will thrive. Certainly, the board is going to take whatever steps it can to help make that happen. With that being said, I'd now ask for a motion.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board grant the Category 1 license renewal as described by the Bureau of Licensing with the conditions which will be listed in the board's order.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next licensing matter for your consideration is the renewal of Mountain View Thoroughbred Racing Association, LLC, doing business as Hollywood Casino Morgantown's Category 4 license. The license renewal hearing for this entity is now complete. The Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement has completed its investigation of the company, and the Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report regarding the renewal. As a result, the license renewal is ready for your consideration. I have provided you with a draft order and asked that the board consider the order to renew the Category 4 license for Hollywood Casino Morgantown.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chairman, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the board grant the Category 4 license renewals described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Ralston, seconds.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next for consideration is the renewal of a sports wagering certificate for Wind Creek Bethlehem LLC.
The Bureau of Licensing, Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement, and the Office of Sports Wagering Operations has completed its review of the documents, and the Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I have provided you with a draft order and asked that you consider the renewal of Category 2 licensee Wind Creek Bethlehem LLC's sports wagering certificate.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board grant the sports wagering certificate renewal as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
In addition is the approval of a video gaming terminal establishment license for Shri Kritri Incorporated. The Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement has now completed its investigation, and the Bureau of Licensing has provided you with the background investigation and suitability report. I have provided you with a draft order and asked the board consider the order to approve the video gaming terminal establishment license for Shri Kritri Incorporated located at 1651 Perry Highway in Portersville.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Regan moves that the board grant the video gaming terminal establishment license as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Dermody said aye, in case you didn't hear it. All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Next, there are principal and key employee licenses.
He's really fading.
The Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a proposed order for 16 principals and 3 key employees. I ask that the board consider the order approving these licenses.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz moves that the board grant the principal and key employee licenses as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Ralston seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
There are also principal and key employee temporary credentials. The Bureau of Licensing provided you with an order regarding the issuance of temporary credentials for 3 principals and 17 key employees. I ask that the board consider the order approving these credentials.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Regan moves that the board grant the temporary principal and key employee credentials as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Additionally, for your consideration are gaming employee permits and non-gaming employee registrations. The Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a list of 425 individuals to whom the Bureau has granted temporary or full occupation permits and 199 individuals to whom the Bureau has granted registrations under the authority delegated to the Bureau of Licensing. I ask that the board consider a motion approving the order.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the applications for gaming employee occupation permits and non-gaming employee registrations as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next, there is a recommendation of denial for 1 gaming applicant. The Bureau of Licensing provides you with an order addressing the applicant who the Office of Enforcement Counsel has recommended for denial. I ask the board consider the order approving this denial.
OEC continues to recommend denial in this instance.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board deny the gaming employee application as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Manzano-Diaz second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next matter for your consideration is withdrawal requests. In each case, the license, permit, or registration is no longer required. For today's meeting, I have provided the board 15 gaming and 28 non-gaming applicants. Ask that the board consider the orders approving these withdrawals.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz moves that the board grant the withdrawal of gaming and non-gaming employee applications as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Ralston seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion's adopted.
In addition, we have an order to renew the gaming service provider certification for Aristotle International Incorporated, doing business as Aristotle Integrity, as well as initially certify GBG Endeavors, LLC, doing business as MetaBet, and Catalyst Sports Incorporated. I provided you with a draft order and asked the board consider the order certifying these companies.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board approve the gaming service provider certifications as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Finally, for your consideration are gaming service provider registrations. The Bureau of Licensing provided you with an order and an attached list of 4 registered gaming service provider applicants. I ask that the board consider the order registering these gaming service providers.
OEC has no objection at this time.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Regan moves that the board approve the gaming service provider registrations as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
I would also like to thank Commissioner Walson and Commissioner Regan. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and appreciate your service to the board.
I would second that motion in OEC. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean and Glenn. Next is the Office of Enforcement Counsel, Cyrus Petrie. Cyrus.
Oh, boy.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel will present 20 matters today for the board's consideration, in which we will request the approval of 3 revocations, 17 involuntary exclusions. Deputy Chief Enforcement Counsel Dustin Miller will now provide the introduction for the default judgments.
Good afternoon, Chair Smiler, members of the board. The next 3 matters on the agenda consist of enforcement actions in which the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed complaints seeking the revocation of permits previously issued by the board. The complaint in each matter has been filed with the board's Office of Hearings and Appeals and properly served upon the individual named in each complaint. The individual named in each complaint failed to respond within 30 days as required by board regulation. As a result, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a request for default judgment in each instance and properly served the same upon each respondent. Therefore, the facts in each complaint are deemed admitted. All filed documents have been provided to the board, and the matters are presently ripe for the board's consideration. In each matter, we will provide a summary of the facts and make a request for the appropriate board action.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Michael Rowland, ROL A&D with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next 2 matters on the agenda are related and are requests to revoke the gaming employee occupation permits issued to Matthew Andrilla and Jeffrey Frankie. With the board's permission, I will provide 1 set of facts and then request board action for each individual. Rivers Philadelphia Casino reported to the Bureau of Casino Compliance details of an internal investigation regarding a violation of procedures surrounding the issuance of free play and the misuse of players' cards. Mr. Andrilla, a guest service representative, and Mr. Frankie, a player services agent, were identified as 2 individuals who fraudulently issued approximately $3,159 in free slot play to patrons. Both individuals were terminated for their actions, but neither were criminally charged. Neither Mr. Andrilla nor Mr. Frankie are currently employed in Pennsylvania's gaming industry. The Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board revoke the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Matthew Andrilla.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board approve the revocation of Matthew Andrilla's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
And the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board revoke the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Jeffrey Frankie.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the revocation of Jeffrey Frankie's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motions passes.
The next matter is a request to revoke the gaming employee occupation permit of Jason Cutney. Mr. Cutney was previously employed by Mohegan, Pennsylvania as a dealer. Mohegan contacted the Bureau of Casino Compliance regarding unusually large wins on the Fusion Craps game in Pit 5. The wins were linked to dealer Jason Cutney's employment time. It was discovered that multiple patrons were colluding with Mr. Cutney. This caused the patrons to win approximately $25,000 to which they were not entitled. He was criminally charged and terminated from his position for gross misconduct. Mr. Cutney is not currently employed in the Pennsylvania gaming industry. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board revoke gaming employee occupation permit of Jason Cutney.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the revocation of Jason Cutney's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The remaining matters on the agenda consist of enforcement actions in which the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed petitions seeking the involuntary exclusion of individuals who are inimical to the interests of the Commonwealth and/or licensed gaming therein. In each instance, the petition for exclusion has been filed with the Board's Office of Hearings and Appeals and properly served upon the individual named in the petition. The individual named in each petition failed to respond within 30 days as required by Board regulation. As a result, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a request for default judgment in each instance and properly served the same upon each individual. Therefore, all facts in each petition are deemed admitted. All filed documents have been provided to the Board, and the matters are presently ripe for the Board's consideration. In each instance, if the Board orders the proposed exclusion, each individual's photo, personal identifiers, and a summary of the inimical conduct may be placed on the Board's public website. Once again, in each matter, we will provide a summary of the facts and make a request for the appropriate Board action.
Michael Rowland with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda is a request to place Jason Cutney on the involuntary exclusion list. For the previously described conduct, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the Board place Jason Cutney on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the Board approve the addition of Jason Cutney to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Ralston, seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next matter on the Board's agenda is a request to place Irving Jackson on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Jackson was observed attempting to break into floats of numerous closed table games at Rivers Philadelphia. At one table, Mr. Jackson was able to remove the float and left it in the middle of the table. Mr. Jackson was not criminally charged regarding this incident. However, he was permanently evicted from the casino property. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the Board place Irving Jackson on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the Board approve the addition of Irving Jackson to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next two matters on the agenda for the Board's consideration stem from the same or similar sets of facts. Therefore, with the Board's permission, I will recite one set of facts and then ask for each individual to be placed on the Board's interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Nadeem Amari and Kevin Daly each created an account on the Barstool Sportsbook platform and deposited money using their respective PayPal accounts in order to convert deposit-related bonus funds to cash that could be withdrawn. Subsequently, it was discovered that neither individual had sufficient funds in their respective accounts to cover their deposits. As such, their accounts were closed, and the devices used were blocked from being used on the Barstool Sportsbook platform. Neither individual was criminally charged for their actions. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the Board place Nadeem Amari on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Regan moves that the Board approve the addition of Nadeem Amari to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the Board place Kevin Daly on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the Board approve the addition of Kevin Daly to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next two matters on the agenda are related and are requests to place E.K. Davis and Kabir Shepard on the involuntary exclusion list. With the Board's permission, I will read one set of facts and then request Board action for each individual. A female patron gaming at Parks Casino finished play and approached the cage to cash out. An individual later identified as E.K. Davis was observed watching her actions. Mr. Davis followed the female patron to both the cage and as she exited the casino. As the patron left the property in her vehicle, Mr. Davis was observed following her in a black Chevy Impala with New Jersey license plates. The Abington Police Department later contacted the Pennsylvania State Police at Parks Casino regarding the female patron who was followed from Parks Casino and advised that she had been robbed. It was reported that upon arriving home, she exited her vehicle. The black Chevy Impala pulled up behind her, and an individual later identified as Kabir Shepard exited the passenger side of the vehicle and assaulted her. Both E.K. Davis and Kabir Shepard were charged with felony robbery and a multitude of related offenses. Mr. Davis and Mr. Shepard both entered negotiated guilty pleas to felonies. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the board place E.K. Davis on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the addition of E.K. Davis to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And the Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the board place Kabir Shepard on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the addition of Kabir Shepard to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Manzano-Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the petition to place Nicole Vivada on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Ms. Vivada created 11 accounts on the BetMGM iGaming.
Andrea, could you just identify yourself for the...
Oh, I apologize. Andrea Roberts,
You don't have to
ROBERTS, Assistant Enforcement Counsel.
Thank you.
Ms. Vivada created 11 accounts on the BetMGM iGaming platform using the personal identifying information of other individuals. All accounts were permanently closed by BetMGM after the fraud was discovered. No criminal charges were filed against Ms. Vivada. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Nicole Vivada on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz moves that the board approve the addition of Nicole Favara to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Wilson, seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next matter on the agenda is a request to place Devante Pertia on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Pertia was present at Mohegan, Pennsylvania, when he attempted to insert counterfeit bills into a slot machine and a ticket redemption unit. Mr. Pertia then handed counterfeit bills to other patrons and tossed counterfeit bills in the air, allowing them to fall to the casino floor. Mohegan permanently banned Mr. Pertia as a result of this incident. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests the board place Devante Pertia on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board approve the addition of Devante Pertilla. Say that one more time for me.
Pertia.
There you go. Pertia to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Regan, seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Dermody said aye, in case you didn't hear him. All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next matter on the agenda is a request to place Brian Rago on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Rago was present at Parks Casino on 3 separate dates when he used player cards belonging to other patrons to steal free play and food comps. Parks had previously banned Mr. Rago for a previous incident when he stole free play belonging to another patron. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests the board place Brian Rago on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Regan moves that the board approve the addition of Brian Rago to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon, seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Juan Sanchez, SANCHEZ, with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda is a request to place Douglas Homan on the involuntary exclusion list. The board previously revoked Mr. Homan's non-gaming employee registration because he stole a $500 chip from a patron while working as an EVS attendant at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. After his termination, Mr. Homan made numerous threats to come to Rivers to cause physical harm to casino employees and, in a separate incident, was criminally charged with felony offenses. Rivers permanently banned Mr. Homan from their property as a result of these incidents. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Douglas Homan on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board approve the addition of Douglas Holman to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Again, Juan Sanchez with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next three matters on the agenda for the board's consideration stem from the same or similar set of facts. Therefore, with the board's permission, I will recite one set of facts and ask for each individual to be placed on the board's interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Alberto Lopez, Thomas Rivera, and Echo Buchanan each created accounts on the Wind Creek Bethlehem interactive gaming platform, funded through deposits from lost and/or stolen financial instruments. Subsequently, each failed or refused to pay funds that they owed to Wind Creek Bethlehem as a result of their gaming activity. All their accounts were closed and the devices used by them were blocked by Wind Creek Bethlehem. No criminal charges were filed. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Alberto Lopez on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the addition of Alberto Lopez to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Thomas Rivera on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the addition of Thomas Rivera to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Echo Buchanan on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the board approve the addition of Echo Buchanan to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Ralston seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Good afternoon, Thomas Monahan, Monaghan with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. Next two matters on the agenda for the board's consideration stem from the same or similar set of facts. Therefore, with the board's permission, I will recite one set of facts and then ask for each individual to be placed on the board's interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Michelle Morris and Daniel Wachter each created multiple accounts on the DraftKings interactive gaming platform using the personal identifying information of other individuals. All the accounts were closed, and the devices used were blocked from being used by DraftKings. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Michelle Morris on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Commissioner Ralston moves that the board approve the addition of Michelle Morris to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's adopted.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Daniel Wachter on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Regan moves that the board approve the addition of Daniel Wachter to the PGCB Involuntary Interactive Gaming Exclusion List for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. My name is Mark Smith, M-A-R-K-S-M-I-T-H, Assistant Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for board consideration is a request to place James Kalor on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Kalor threatened and robbed $10,000 in cash from another patron in the parking lot of Valley Forge Casino. Valley Forge permanently banned him from their property as a result of this incident. Mr. Kalor was convicted of robbery for his actions and sentenced to incarceration. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board place James Kalor III on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Manzano Diaz moves that the board approve the addition of James W. Kalor III to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dillon seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted.
The next matter on the agenda for board consideration is the petition to place Elvis Vest on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Vest left an approximately 12-year-old child alone in a vehicle in the parking lot of Rivers Casino, Philadelphia, for approximately 22 minutes while he entered the casino to place sports wagers. The child was discovered by a roving security officer. Rivers permanently banned Mr. Vest from their property as a result of this incident. However, he was not criminally charged. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the board place Elvis Vest on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dillon moves that the board approve the addition of Elvis Vest to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
That concludes the business of the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
We'd like to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your support. Wish you continued success in your endeavors.
Thank you. We have a commissioner over here that's hating a little bit, but it's fine.
This meeting would have been over a half hour ago.
That concludes the business of Office of Enforcement Counsel? Okay, thank you. The last item on the agenda today is public comment. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the board? Seeing no one, thank you. That concludes today's meeting. The next public meeting of the board will be held on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, at 10 a.m. at this location. Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Ralston makes a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Regan seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.